Legislators returned to the House of Assembly for the first sitting of the third session of the second House of Assembly on Monday, 7th October, when Governor Boyd McCleary unveiled an ambitious legislative agenda as he delivered the throne speech. Along with the 24 pieces of legislation passed by the Dr. Smith-led NDP administration between 2012 and 2013, since taking office in November 2011. There are some 48 acts, regulations, policies, and initiatives to be introduced for the rest of 2013 and into 2014, as government moves apace to modernize the BVI economy. The government of the Virgin Islands has also proposed measures to assist stakeholders in the tourism sector.
Madam Speaker, in stimulating and fixing the economy, my government will continue to move forward strategically with seeking to amend the Hotel Aid Ordinance, Cap 290, in order that local businesses benefit from the sale of goods that are purchased under the grant of hotel aid. My government will also seek to amend the Pioneer Services Act, Cap 297, and the Encouragement of Industries Act, 287, to improve the marketing of investment incentives and to ensure that the tourism sector remain competitive in the global marketplace. In considering the pivotal role of the BVI in international trade and commerce, in the context of companies incorporated or established in the BVI, and to position the BVI as an international centre for the settlement of commercial disputes, my government will introduce a bill to amend the Arbitration Act, Cap 6, which will enable this territory to develop as an international centre for arbitration.
The speech, themed Moving Forward Strategically, also expressed plans to build a people government in an atmosphere where protection of the person, property, personal freedom, and human rights are accorded the highest priority through listening, collaborating, consulting, and communicating. There are also plans to introduce a data protection bill for the protection of the privacy rights of individuals in view of the developments in the techniques used to capture, transmit, and manipulate record or stored data. There is also a move to review the Education Act 2004 and introduce modern information and communications technology to the territory schools as government signals plans to introduce the necessary legal and regulatory framework to govern the use of technology in education management information systems.
Madam Speaker, in moving forward strategically towards building a better Virgin Islands, my government will continue to work on strengthening the educational sector. My government will review the Education Act 2004 to encourage greater involvement of the community in the governance and management of our schools. In introducing modern information and communications technology to the territory schools, my government will introduce the necessary legal and regulatory framework to govern the use of technology in our education management information systems. My government will revise the Library Act, Cap 117, to ensure that our library is in keeping with all the changes taking place in our world, and ensuring that the new modes of information management are involved in the way it operates. My government will introduce legislation for the establishment of a sports council and a youth council. Additionally, we will develop a national youth policy and a national sports policy to ensure appropriate governance and management in these two areas. My government will work with the H. Levity Stout Community College in amending the College Act, Cap 1990, so that it is in line with current higher education expectations and realities. Another key piece of legislation to be reviewed, Madam Speaker, is the Scholarship Trust Fund Board Ordinance, Cap 118, and regulations. These pieces of legislation have been in existence since 1987 and 1972 respectively, and must be revised to ensure they are aligned with modern times.
And the government of the Virgin Islands has announced plans to introduce a Freedom of Information Bill by 2014. This is part of government's plans to embark on an urgent and important review of several pieces of legislation to improve public sector reform, communications, and infrastructure.
Madam Speaker, as my government moves forward strategically into this new sitting to improve the standard of living for all, they will introduce a Freedom of Information Bill to provide the public with the right of access to information in the possession of public authorities, making available to the public information about the operations of public authorities, and in particular, ensuring that the authorizations, policies, rules, and practices affecting members of the public in their dealings with public authorities are readily available to persons affected by those authorizations, policies, rules, and practices. Madam Speaker, we believe that a framework for accessing information by the public is imperative for good governance and transparency.